Mr. Mystery Guest. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Unless you want to open the front door for me.
No, I'm afraid not. But you have me at a loss. You know my name, but who are you? Just another American who saw too many movies as a child. Another orphan of a bankrupt culture who thinks he's John Wayne, Rambo, Marshall Dillon.
I was always kind of partial to Roy Rogers, actually. I really like those sequin shirts.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's Two Dads, One Movie. It's the podcast where two middle-aged dads sit around and shoot the shit about the movies of the 80s and 90s. Here are your hosts, Steve Paulo and Nick Brianna. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Dads, One Movie. I'm Steve.
And I'm Nick.
And today we're talking about the 1988 action Christmas classic, Die Hard. It is the fourth window of our Dadvent Calendar that we've opened up this year. And if you don't agree with us that Die Hard is actually a Christmas movie, bye-bye. Bye-bye. We're your guy. You can turn it off now.
See ya.
It's clearly a Christmas movie. There's no denying it. This was one of my picks for us. And, you know, what do you even say about a movie like Die Hard? Like what do we even, how do we even preface this? It's one of the best like everyman action movies,
yes,
right? Where it's not a Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Rambo, like unkillable, you know, the action hero is vulnerable, which is super fun and works in movies since. But I think before this was not a real common, you know, idea in action movies.
Yeah, no, there wasn't much of the main guy getting beat up because it would either be like a cop type, a Dirty Harry type guy,
right?
Or like a superhuman, like
Exactly.
muscle guy,
Predator,
right?
Commando, Rambo, like stuff like that, which are also a ton of fun as well. But this was great. Bruce Willis really kind of broke the mold in a lot of ways of 80s action heroes. And we're going to get into it, but there's a lot that was done in this movie that then carried on through the 90s in action movies that were started here in this movie. It's a lot of fun to watch, and we're going to have a ton of fun talking about it. And Nick, what's your history with Die Hard?
Oh man. So, I probably saw this sometime in high school. I think would probably be the time when I was getting into the R-rated action movies and stuff. But man, I mean, this was so enjoyable the first time and the second time and every subsequent time to watch. It's just your perfect like blockbuster action movie. There's something for everyone. There's humor. There's a great lead character.
Yes.
There's a good villain. There's a good group of like sub bosses with the villain. And just the way it progresses, it's fun to follow. The stuff that he has to overcome is really interesting relative to other action movies that had come out at the time. And and the Christmas element, I mean, it's a reason once a year to make your wife watch it with you.
Yes, absolutely fun. Christmas movie, great action movie. And I agree with you. Like the cast, the kind of supporting cast, there's a bunch of like on both sides on the sort of terrorist, quote unquote, you know, the bad guy side. And then on the cop side, there's a bunch of like cannon fodder characters that like we don't care about. Yeah. But there's at least 3 or 4 on each side of the aisle that are like really interesting, pretty well developed. We actually kind of care about them in one way or another, either like, oh, they're scary or they're funny or they're whatever, you know, kind of thing. Not care about them necessarily like we give a crap what happens to them, but they're like interesting enough to keep us kind of going with them. And that's great. I think too many action movies, you've got like the hero and then everybody else is just like henchmen, like one hero, one villain, and then nobody cares, you know. And this is a much more fleshed out group of characters. All right, let's jump into the facts on Die Hard. Die Hard did not come out around Christmas. It was a summer blockbuster. It came out on July 18th, 1988 with an R rating, a running time of 132 minutes, which it's among the longest movies we've done. It's up there with the others that are long. Directed by John McTiernan, written by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza from the novel by Roderick Thorpe, starring Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, and Bonnie Bedelia, but also Reginald Vell Johnson and, you know, a whole bunch of other great people as well.
Was Bonnie Bedelia the third build?
She was actually the second build in the movie. If you watch the credits in the movie, it's Bruce Willis 1, Bonnie Bedelia 2. So
was she married to John McTiernan? How?
No, she had a bit of a career before this movie, and so she was a bit of a name. Certainly, there were a lot of people in this movie that were kind of, if not in their first like movie or anything, they were still kind of up and coming as stars. And so, you know, she was close to that at the time. Rotten Tomatoes, 94% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb an
Amazing.
8.2, incredibly high score. And of course, we have a thumbs up from Gene Siskel and a thumbs down from the contrarian Roger Ebert. I don't know how you give this movie a thumbs down.
Really, we got to get that boy's thumb fixed.
It's bad. Awards. Nothing major that it won, but it was nominated for 4 Oscars. Kind of the action movie quartet of Best Sound Editing, Best Film Editing, and Best Visual Effects. And it was added to the National Film Registry in 2017. On a budget of $28 million, which in 1988 was a pretty hefty sum of money, it pulled in $140.8 million in the box office for 5 times its budget, which is a bona fide smash hit. So those are the facts on Die Hard. And let's jump into it. We start off with flying into LAX. The first thing we see is a plane landing, and we get the white knuckle grip of the plane, of the seat, from who we find out with Bruce Willis. This is John McClane. This is our hero. He's a cop from New York flying to LA to visit his, they're not divorced or anything, but somewhat estranged wife, we learn. Yeah. But before we learn all of that, his seat mate, his little neighbor there, is this businessman who's apparently had been wearing a 3-piece suit, but took the jacket off. He's looked very dressed up. And he goes, "Oh, you don't like flying? This is the secret. When you get where you're going, you take off your shoes and your socks, you walk around on the carpet, and you make fists with your toes. Make fists with your toes. I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll try that." And as he gets up, of course, he's got his sidearm, his pistol, in a holster under his arm, and the guy notices, like, okay. He's like, "Oh, no, it's okay. I'm a cop. Like, I've been doing this. Trust me, I've been doing this for 11 years, whatever."
Yeah.
Kind of a funny exchange, but it reminded me, like, can cops even fly with weapons these days?
I think so.
Okay. All right. I kind of figured possibly, but if
you're just a random, like, "Oh, I'm in an Antioch cop and I'm going to Hawaii," I don't know if you can just bring
he's on vacation.
Maybe you can. And there's all these, I don't know if you know this genre of internet video where it's like a fake airplane setup where they have like an airplane freak out, but it's totally staged. It's not really on a plane.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing one where it's this guy where they're like, "Sir, you have to put your seatbelt on." And he's like, "I'm an FBI agent. You're blowing my cover right now." It's like, this shit is so stupid. I would feel less comfortable if there were just dudes like taking down Jack and Cokes with a gun on them in an airplane.
Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I don't know that any random off-duty cop should be like able to carry a gun on a plane, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure how the rules work. Anyway, so we see him. He arrives at LAX, and then I think the next thing we see right away, we go to Nakatomi Plaza and the Christmas party happening on the 30th floor.
On Christmas Eve at the office.
Yes.
Once again,
just
great
like Trading
for cinema,
Places.
terrible for work-life balance.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Oh, we just want to show appreciation to the people that work here and make them stay at their desk for another 6 hours on the biggest holiday of the year for their family.
Man.
But yeah, one funny thing there. So we have Holly, who's Holly McClane, Holly Gennaro, who's John's wife that he's coming to visit. She's a big wig executive there. Who looks like she's wearing a big wig herself.
She really does.
And her assistant is this pregnant woman who's like finishing up her day of work, and she's just like, "I'm going to go join the party. Do you think the baby can handle a little sip?" Which I really like that. That's a very 1988 sensibility.
But then she also says, like, "That baby's ready to tend bar." And I'm like, "Lady, you're a mother of 2. You know that's not true. Come on now." But yeah.
The fist with your toes thing. I mean, we know that this is a device that needs to happen to get John McClane's shoes off. Brilliant, right?
Yeah,
because it's like it disguises this thing that could happen in such a stupid fucking way later.
Yeah.
And it's such a smart way to get you to this position that's like illogical otherwise.
Yeah. When we have him running around barefoot without this sort of, preamble about the fist with the toes or whatever, we would all be asking, why the hell did he take his shoes off? He's had a party in an office. He was like in the bathroom or whatever. It wasn't even a private bathroom because Holly mentions she's gunning for Ellis's private bathroom or whatever. So she's taken him to like a hallway bathroom, and now he's taking his shoes and socks off. And like, it was just all kind of weird.
Yeah.
But at least with this little bit of like beforehand, we get, oh, okay, he's trying out that fist with his toes thing. Okay, fine. And you're right, but it's a tiny thing, but it works nicely. And we will absolutely get to that. Holly does call home. She's wondering where John might be, if he called in before he got on his flight. So her daughter Lucy answers, very cute, McClane residence, whatever. And then she also then speaks to Paulina, who is like the housekeeper nanny. Basically, she's the one who's there with the kids while Holly's at work, and just confirms that no, Mr. McClane did not call. No telefono, she says. Which is a very like fuego kind of thing. But that's okay. But yeah, so she confirms no, Mr. McClane did not phone in.
Yeah. So McClane, he's off the plane here. I know I skipped ahead a little.
No. Yeah, we're good.
Fist with their toast, but he's off the plane and he's kind of like giving this look around like, oh, California, can you believe it? And the things that he sees is like a blonde woman in a half shirt who like runs and like jumps in her boyfriend's arms.
I used to think that was crazy, and then I realized she's wearing like tights as pants, which today is 1,000% normal.
Yeah, that's
in
like
1988. In 1988, nobody went out in public like that.
That's true. I mean,
nobody.
His seatmate wearing a 3-piece suit on the plane, which is how people used to be like, well, I'm going to be out in the world traveling, representing my family crest. I better get dressed up.
There's a moment in the movie, which we'll have to watch this one too at some point, Last Action Hero. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. Yeah, where they comment, because they're in the movie world, and the kid comments about how the women are dressed. And at the time, it seemed psychotic that they were dressed so scantily.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, that's just kind of where the culture went. So yeah, I think he's commenting on the fact that this woman is basically out wearing tights and nothing else for pants, no skirt over it or anything else, which in 88 would have been scandalous basically. And he's like, California. And he's like,
oh fucking California. He can't believe it. So he gets off. So he's, fish out of water here, and he sees a guy, holding a sign with his name on it. And this is his limo driver. We're introduced to Argyle, who I love.
Argyle's the best.
Really good character.
Yes.
I think in the Blues Brothers, he is the guy who is trying to steal the guitar off the wall at Ray's Music Exchange, where Ray Charles like fires at him with the gun with 2 shots there. So Argyle basically is like, this is my first time driving a limo, and John McClane's like, this is my first time riding in one, and he has this big like stuffed bear that he's meant to like, kind of a Cameron Poe style delivery of a stuffed animal to his child.
Well, no, but wait, is it for his wife? Because he's got 2 kids and just one bear. So is the bear for Lucy and John Jr. gets nothing, or is the bear for Holly? Like, that's what I've always wondered. Because he's only got one big bear.
It's true. But we're 2 dads and we're only doing one movie and everybody gets everything.
Oh,
yeah, that's a really
kids,
good point.
bear.
Unless it's like a Trojan horse type thing. It's a 2-person bear costume that they could put on. But because John McClane is an everyman, he's sitting in the front seat of the limo.
Yeah.
Which I love to see. So him and Argyle sitting up there in the front, chopping it up. The bear's in the back.
Yep.
And Argyle's playing Run DMC's Christmas in Hollis.
That's
right. Which is just so good.
Great song.
I mean, really, really good. And at the time, it was very new for this movie and unexpected to have like even rap in a mainstream movie.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. There wasn't like a black heavy cast. Right.
Yeah. Let alone like the Christmas.
Well, and John makes a comment, McClane makes a comment like, don't you have any Christmas music? And Argyle's like, this is Christmas music, man. And sure enough.
So great scene of them rolling in there.
Yeah.
So John's dropped off now in the lobby of Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah. And Argyle says like, hey, look, if you strike out with your wife, because he said like, where are you going to stay if it doesn't work out with her? He's like, I don't know, figure it out. He's like, well, if you strike out, like, give me a call. He hands him his card. Give me a call. If you score, let me know. I'll go home. If you strike out, let me know, and I'll find you a hotel or something. I'll help you find a place. Kind of thing. Really nice.
Good, very like astute observations by Argyle as John's telling him the situation. He's like, oh, okay. So she moved out here, or you didn't want to move out here because you thought she wouldn't be successful out here. And like, he's just on the money there. So he's this young, like 19-year-old kid, but he's really,
very
he's really
fast,
on top
Argyle.
of it. Really
John says a couple times, you're very fast, Argyle. Yeah.
When John ends up in the lobby of Nakatomi Plaza, it's weird because there's one of those security guy desks. Yeah. There's a Christmas tree in the lobby that's turned off.
Right.
And again, the time of day is,
it's like sunset,
cloudy
basically.
to me, right? So it's probably like 6 p.m.
That time
like
of year,
that.
maybe more like 5, right? Because it gets dark early. So,
but it's weird. So he goes up to the security guy and he asks for Holly, and he tries to search her. Holly McClane tries to search her in the computer. Oh no, she must be using her maiden name. It tried to search her, but then the security guy's like, okay, just go down the elevator. They're on the 30th floor. They're the only ones here. It's like,
just tell them to go.
What are we doing here? You get paid by the word? Like, just let me roll through.
Yeah. So he goes up to the party on the 30th. It's a rollicking bash.
Very
lots of
opulent.
people. Yeah. Lots of people, lots of drinks flowing. He gets handed a drink by a waiter, like it's already in a cup, and it looks really bright pink. He takes a sip, doesn't like it, gives it back to another waiter. It was probably some fruity, really sweet kind of thing, whatever. Yeah. It's not whiskey neat, so it's not something John McClane would drink, that kind of thing. And he meets Takagi, Joe Takagi, who is sort of he's Holly's boss. It seems like he's the head honcho for like this office of Nakatomi, like for whatever, like this branch of the Nakatomi Corporation. Joe Takagi's the head guy. And so he, thanks Takagi for the limo and stuff. And he's like, oh, I'll take you to Holly's office. She'll be right back or whatever. She went to finish up some work. So they walk into Holly's office and Ellis is in there snorting coke off the desk. And I love Takagi's thing. Ellis, what are you doing? This is Holly's husband, John McClane. Holly's policeman husband.
Yeah. When Ellis gets up, he's like, I just had to make a phone call. This was the closest
this is the closest phone. And then John's like, you missed a spot when he still had some coke on his nose.
So good.
So funny.
The Ellis character is just one of the best representations of that guy.
One of the most fun to hate, like 80s douchebags in all movies ever. Like really just perfect encapsulation of the me generation, the yuppie, everything. And he is just, he's a slime ball in every way. And he is one of the only non-bad guys who gets capped that I don't care about. When he gets capped, I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Fucking Ellis.
No, he's
you
not
would have caused
redeemable.
more damage if you stayed alive.
Because that he's gonna run over some old lady with his Ferrari or something. Like he's causing problems outside.
That guy drives a Beamer for sure, right? And calls it that. It's my Beamer.
It's funny at the beginning. So John and Holly are talking, and she's like, "Well, what are you doing tonight?" He's like, "Oh, I'm staying with my friend in Ramona," and she's like, "Ah, you dumb bitch! It's Pomona." It's like, all right, that joke doesn't work that well if you don't know LA. Like that's a normal thing to.
I think she did correct him, but I think she was laughing at how far Pomona is from
I thought she was
DTLA
laughing
or whatever.
But she did mention that it was far.
You'd be in the car the whole time.
But anyway, then this is something I'm noticing the first time watching this is that Holly's just like, why don't you stay with us? The kids would like it, and I would too. It's like, are we conceding that this early in the film when it's kind of supposed to be about him rekindling eventually with her? She's already like, hey, we can go back to my house and I will suck your dick tonight. Like,
well, I don't know if it was quite
it didn't have to work for a lot.
I think the key was, and
she was implying that, trust me.
Fair enough. I think the reason though that we have to have this here is that we need John to not tell Argyle to leave. Because if everything's going well or everything's going poorly, he's supposed to call and tell Argyle to go ahead and go home. Like, I'm good. Right. So we want that to not happen. So when he does talk to Argyle in a little bit, it's more just like, I don't know for sure yet. Right. Okay. There's that. But we also need there to be this like element of John going like, oh, okay, maybe she's not totally so pissed at me that this isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Like he needs to operate through this movie like his wife and him are going to be back together.
Well, he starts a fight with her immediately. So it throws her her welcomeness out the window because he immediately fucks it up.
Yeah, he does.
The whole thing could have ended if he was like, hey, why don't we ditch this party and go take the kids out for Hawaiian shaved ice?
Could have. Yeah, could have. Because he makes a big deal about using Gennaro instead of McClane, except when signing checks or something, which I'm like, what the fuck is that about? You're a cop. She is like the director of global development for Nakatomi Corporation. Which one of you makes more money? What is this? He acts like it's her, his money. She signs checks McClane's.
I know.
It's like, what the fuck?
It is. Yeah, it is really funny. And this is like when they depict cops as like having the shittiest lifestyle, like not make the cinema universe doesn't really take into account the very generous pensions.
That's true.
That they get. So yeah, if he was just fine with her using her maiden name, he'd be home with the kids right now.
Right.
Nothing happens.
Exactly.
So now we get kind of the truck that's holding the bad guys and it's pulling up. We don't really see them until they start walking into the building.
Yeah.
And there's like a taller dude and then the short Theo, the shorter dude, the black dude with the glasses, who I love this character.
And the big guy is Karl, who's basically the main bad guy's right-hand man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Karl and Theo, and they're walking in there. And the way Theo, he's not approaching the guard. He's just like describing this basketball game to Karl. He's like, and Worthy passes it to Kareem and right here. And then Karl shoots the security guard at the front desk. Yep. And Theo's like 2 points. And then he like hops over the desk and does like a double foot kick to like kick the guy away.
Like the corpse now.
It's like so disrespectful. That character is really, really funny.
Theo is probably the most fun.
I would
of
like
the
a
crew.
Theo spinoff.
Yes, I would watch a movie of how did Theo get into this group? Because he's not German. He's one of three characters that don't appear to be like European.
Right.
There's maybe 3 bad guys that are like Americans, or there's Al Leong, who's just always there.
I got Al Leong written down here, baby.
But like, so it's like, how did he join up with this group? It would be interesting to find out because that character is super interesting. He's a computer hacker. He's like all kinds of like cool technology stuff.
Yeah.
And he's very funny. And so, we get a lot of good Theo stuff throughout the movie. But yeah, so right away they arrive. They kill 2 guards right off the bat. I started keeping a body count at this point.
Oh, nice.
So we'll get through that near the end of the movie. I'll see. I may have miscounted, but I think I got it. They start locking down all the entrances and exits. So they're locking the front doors. They're locking stuff in the, turning down the gates for the parking garage. So now Argyle's locked inside because he took the limo into the parking garage, doing all this stuff. And Alan Rickman's Hans Gruber, one of the best villains of 80s action movies, gets a bunch of his buddies, a bunch of his crew, and they go up to the 30th floor. And
they disabled like the elevators from all the other floors and stuff. So they're kind of isolating the 30th.
It's like 30th and up. I think they can use the elevator from the 30th and up, and that's about it. So, or maybe, whatever. They kind of control it. So Gruber and his men arrive on the 30th floor, and immediately, they kind of come out into the party. And a woman sees them and screams. There's gunshots, like whatever. They're like, starting to enforce rule over the room. And that's when McClane, who's still in the bathroom and now this is important, right? He has taken off his shoes and socks to try the fists with your toes thing, recognizes the sound of the gunfire, gets his pistol out, and is looking down the hall and is able, while all this stuff is happening, they're pulling people out of offices and coming down the hall. And it looks like he's going to get caught. But then luckily one group of bad guys goes into the next office down or 2 offices down and pulls a couple who are clearly having sex like off a table. So there's a topless woman gets pulled out, which draws the attention of all the other bad guys. And we don't actually see it, but he is then able to kind of run to the stairwell and get out of the office he's in before they investigate it.
There's a couple like very brief titty distractions in this movie, which is funny.
You can't have an R-rated movie in the 80s that doesn't have some topless person somewhere.
For sure. Somewhere. And the henchmen are doing these other things. They're disabling the electricity and stuff. And it looks like one of them, there's kind of 2 very tall blonde dudes.
Oh, yeah.
So there's Karl and the other guy, Tony,
his brother.
And that's his brother. And he has glasses and he's like figuring stuff with the communication system. And Karl is just obviously like the behemoth who doesn't give a shit. And he comes in with the chainsaw, just going through the conduit to like destroy all the electrical system.
It's all the phone trunk. It's actually the phone trunk. So because it says Pac Bell employees only on the outside. And what he's doing is he's taking over all of the phone lines that are important. So all of the calls going in or out of the building will route through their equipment instead. But in order to make sure that happens, they then need to cut the trunk to all the rest of the lines so that nothing can get through. And that's what Karl's doing with the chainsaw. But Tony is scrambling to get the last hookups done. And they're speaking to him in German, so I don't know exactly what they're saying, but you can sort of figure out like, dude, give me a second. Nope, it's time. No, give me a second. Nope, here we go. No, come on, stop. I gotta. And then he kind of breathes a sigh of relief as he gets the last alligator clip on, which I'm kind of like, if you were still going to reroute it, would it matter that it didn't cut first? I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. But anyway, there is this interaction between Karl and Tony.
Good drama and with some good sibling rivalry.
Absolutely, right.
Yeah. So Hans, now they're basically like, they have shot the machine guns in the air, and he's kind of talking about what they're looking for.
Yeah, he's got this speech about like, because of the Nakatomi corporations, like, decades of greed, like, and he's going on and on, basically like saying, you're all going to witness the Nakatomi Corporation pay for its sins. Yeah. And he's being very like highfalutin sounding, very, very mission driven sounding, kind of like they have this larger mission they're going for.
Right.
And now he's got to find Takagi. Because again, like we was established earlier, Takagi's like the head guy in the building at least. And I love it. He like runs down like Joseph Takagi, Yoshinobu Takagi, born Kyoto, 1937. Like he's going through his whole.
I love that.
He's got the like where he went to college, JD, MBA, like all this stuff.
It's like Toy Soldiers where they're picking out the kids running through the resume. I love that device.
And then then Takagi finally steps up and goes like, I am Joe Takagi, and he goes, and father to 5. And I just love the way that like the last thing he mentions is that this guy's a dad.
Yeah.
And it's just like kind of, it's all so sinister and wonderful. And Rickman is ludicrously good in this movie. Like, just unacceptably
the
good.
way that he talks is being like the character of the kind of like gentleman criminal.
Yes.
He does such a good job at it. So, and he takes Takagi and they're going, to pull him to another area of the office, and they're on the elevator, and he makes a comment about, that's a nice suit. John Phillips, London. I have 2 myself. Rumors are Arafat gets his suits there. Like, right, I just I love that all like the dudes that Frank Drebin beats up at the beginning of the Gun all have like a group text about like where they're getting their clothes from.
Exactly. Oh my god.
So and I love this scene because this is something I always enjoy seeing in a movie is they take Takagi through this office which is just full of models.
Yeah.
I love models there, very film friendly.
Yeah.
I really like to see that.
Yeah.
So, they're taking him there and they're basically like, all right, we got our computer guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's this far in getting into the vault. Give him the rest.
Yeah. They're basically asking for code. And Takagi's still a little confused. He's like, if I give you codes now, by the time they wake up in Tokyo, they'll have everything changed. Like, you're not going to be able to blackmail our executives. You're not able to do this. And this is when, Gruber is like, I understand, but we need the code to get into. I'm not interested in your corporate secrets. I'm interested in the $640 million in negotiable bearer bonds that you have in your vault. And I need the code to get into the vault. And Takagi's like, what kind of terrorist are you? And he's like, who said we're terrorists? Like, we want the money, and so then Takagi still refuses, and he claims he doesn't have the code, but it's a weird.
I can't tell.
I can't tell if he does or not. So he says, Gruber does, I'll count to 3. He's got the pistol, and Takagi's like, I don't have the code. You'll simply have to kill me. And he goes, okay, and shoots him. Now, before this actually happens, John McClane has arrived on that same floor and is sort of like hiding under a desk in the next room, kind of seeing this all happen. I don't think we get the sense that he can hear them because they're in the next room with like a closed door, but he sees them shoot Takagi.
Yeah.
And that at that point he bangs his head on like the desk he's hiding under, which sort of attracts everybody's attention momentarily. McClane's able to get away, but it does sort of like Karl and Theo and Gruber, they're all kind of looking around like something happened, but nobody's here. So they put it aside, but it sort of like does trick. I think it trips that sort of like something different.
We're
is
not
happening.
fully in control.
We're not necessarily fully, have everything under lock. Because Gruber does seem like the guy who wants to cover every possible scenario.
Totally. Yeah. And he shows us throughout the film, he's very prepared.
Yeah.
So as Takagi is where he's telling them like, I'm not going to give them the code.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to kill me. Theo and Karl appear to have a side bet with each other of if Takagi is going to give the code, if he's going to get killed or not. So after he gets shot, Karl gives Theo $5 there. So it's kind of a Duke brother style bet.
I also love that Gruber, Hans does mention quite specifically, like, look, this is $640 million we're going to steal. That's, I think he says it's less than 10 days operating capital for your company.
His motives that are stated are not necessarily true is kind of like the main point of this is that if he's saying like, we want to bring your company down, we're going to do this. And of course, Takagi thinks, well, you're going to do that by stealing our IP or whatever.
Right.
But that's not actually what he's doing.
Right.
So yeah, he's a bit all over the place here.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see here. So McClane has managed to get himself to the 32nd floor.
Right.
And pull a fire alarm.
Oh, is that this point? Oh, yeah. Pulls the fire alarm.
Yeah, right after that.
We should mention before that happens, we see, McClane doesn't, but we see Hans' buddies, bad guys, setting up the C4 up on the roof. They start placing the C4 and putting detonators and things. So they are arming the roof with bomb, basically, with big blow-up boomy bomb. So it's important to know that. But yes, McClane pulls a fire alarm. Now, because the bad guys have taken over the phone system or whatever, then they're able to call from their own phones as if they're calling from the plaza, basically, and sort of explain what happened to the 911 and be like, I was a false alarm, don't send anybody. So they do end up turning around.
Yeah, and McClane's sitting there. There's a great scene of him watching them through the window, and he sees this like whole army of fire trucks approaching, and then they're turning around. It's like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's being kind of loud, but in the meantime, they know what floor the fire alarm was tripped from, and they send up Tony, right?
Yeah.
Who has my wife pointed this out. He has a very Jeffrey Dahmer look.
Yes, he really
he's like
does.
a German. He's like a Jeffrey Daimler. He's like a German looking like Norwegian Dahmer type guy. So he comes up and he's going straight after McClane. He's got his machine gun. He's like, I'm not going to hurt you, whatever. And then immediately it's like turns around and fires at him. So they end up.
Well, I love that he like slaps the safety off the MP5 he's carrying while saying, "I'm not going to hurt you."
Yeah, so he's clearly intended to hurt him, and they have a great tussle. And basically, McClane gets him in a position, and he's like, basically, I'm going to shoot you. And I love this line where he's like, "You're a policeman. There are rules for policemen."
That's right. Yeah.
I love that.
Well,
just
McClane's
the
response,
confidence of that.
And the McClane's response, my captain keeps telling me that. But they fight and they wrestle and they tumble, and then they end up falling down the stairs, and Tony's neck is broken. And so now, McClane's able to get his walkie-talkie. He's able to get his machine gun, his MP5, and like some ammo, and then this like bag that he doesn't even really know what's in it. He's just got the bag with him, but it's got like detonators and stuff. Maybe he did notice, but anyway, he goes to try on Tony's shoes. And they're too small. And he says, all the millions of terrorists in the world, I got to kill one with feet smaller than my sister.
Yeah.
It's a great line. But he puts a Santa hat on Tony, puts him in the elevator, writes on his sweatshirt, now I have a machine gun, ho, 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 and sends him back to the 30th, down to the 30th floor. And
he's doing some impressive move, like jimmying the elevator with like a mop handle, like the way he's able to stop it at the point where he can get out, but he can still reach the button to send it down.
But he's
and all
sitting on
stuff.
top of it. Is that why? And I thought to myself, why wouldn't he just like press the button and step back out? But then I realized that wouldn't have put him on top of the elevator car. So, okay, he's got to do this whole thing. But it works.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho is so good. And, this being Tony, the brother of Karl, who's like the number 2 guy to Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
He's fucking
pissed.
lost it.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously. And Holly is kind of noticing like that there's some chaos among the terrorists here.
Yeah. And at one point when I think maybe before, as they're getting the elevator to come down, Gruber has Hans addresses the assembled Nakatomi employees. He has a great line where he says, like, I'd hoped this to be like cordial, but Mr. Takagi did not agree, and unfortunately, he won't be joining us for the rest of his life. It's so good. And then people like scream, whatever. But yeah, Holly kind of makes a comment in earshot of Ellis that like, oh, that's like John. Like, I think says something like only John makes people that angry. Or
maybe that's she says that a little later. Yeah. But she has that look for sure. Cause I was thinking the line was coming there because the way she looked, it was this is the guy who knows how to make people that fucking mad. And John has gotten a hold of the radio from Tony.
Yes.
So he has something and he's trying to like radio for help. And I think he's trying to call the 911, the emergency dispatch.
Yeah, he got up on the roof and like channel 9 on like a CB basically is like kind of like 911 for telephone. And so he's up on the roof to try to increase the broadcast distance and is trying to call out to just anybody who will listen. Like, hey, there's this emergency, Nakatomi Plaza, this, whatever. But especially because the fire alarm was already pulled and was turned out to be a prank or a mistake or whatever, the operators, the dispatchers are very unconcerned, where they think he's just screwing around, like, sir, this is for emergencies only. And he's like, what do you think, I'm ordering a fucking pizza? Like
they're being so dismissive.
But in the meantime, because Gruber can hear them on the radio and he thinks to himself, where would you go if you're trying to transmit? He must be on the roof. He sends Karl and a couple other guys up. And I want to pause for a second and point out that like this movie is so much like a video game in that the rank and file bad guys all carry MP5s, which ended up becoming like the standard bad guy machine gun in 90s movies. Really wasn't super common. If you look at movies pre-Die Hard, the MP5 is not a standard issue bad guy weapon.
Yeah.
It is in like everything for like the next 10 years at least. Is just an interesting thing. And then Gruber, the head boss, he only has a pistol. He's that little like German pistol. But the right-hand man, the enforcer guy, Karl, has what's called a Steyr AUG. And it's this German, crazy looking, futuristic, psychotic, big rifle thing. It's Austrian, I think, technically. But like, it just looks amazing. He has to like attach the barrel to it. It looks so like big bad guy, end boss kind of thing. And sure enough, when he starts firing that thing at John on the roof, man, it's a huge noise. The muzzle blast is enormous. Like everything is like wild. Now, luckily for McClane, right, he's on the walkie-talkie with 911 or the equivalent, and the gunfire starts while he's still on. So they hear it and like, what is that? Like, kind of thing.
We got to send someone.
But now he's got to get the fuck away from these guys. He's going to get his ass killed up on the roof. Oh my god.
So now we have we're being shown Reginald Vell Johnson,
Sergeant Al Powell,
Carl Winslow, and he's in like a 7-Eleven, buying some snacks or whatever. And he gets the call while he's in there, and there's some good banter between him and the clerk there, and the guy's kind of like, "Oh, you're gonna eat, all this?
Twinkies,
I thought you guys like donuts," because he's buying Twinkies. He's like, "They're for my wife." And then he does like the most passive aggressive, putting change into the little charity bucket at the register. So he gets the call. Oh, I will say, gas, 74 cents. Wow,
holy crap! In downtown LA,
good, crazy.
God, wow.
So there's like a shootout happening on the roof, and basically he doesn't know this stuff is happening. So Al just takes his car over to go take a look at Nakatomi.
Well, doesn't he see muzzle flashes from the
not yet, or he might
I
see
can't
that
remember,
something's off because he gets there and then he leaves.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
concern him quite enough.
That's
but he's
right.
just like, okay, I'll go check it out.
Yeah. So he let's see.
Oh, so Karl now
Okay.
and McLean are having this great shootout. One of the other henchmen kind of looks like Steve Perry from Journey.
Okay.
He's like a big version of Steve Perry.
Marco, I think.
And
yeah.
there's some good stuff there. At one point, McLean is like falling into the elevator shaft, and he's hanging by like the strap of the machine gun,
right?
Which is great tension of like showing the strap like get
unravels
looser
a
and
little.
looser. It's like it would have fallen immediately, but I love the way that's shot,
But is that even an elevator shaft? Because I wrote this, I'm like, I mean, they call it an elevator shaft, but I think it's next elevator shaft. I think he's in the ducting. I think that's part of the heating system.
Okay.
Somehow.
Yeah, that
this
makes
enormous
more
thing.
sense.
Because there's no wires or, there's no infrastructure in there for an elevator.
Right.
But I think they had to walk past an elevator to get there.
Okay.
But it's like, that's why there's all these ducts
just a generalized shaft.
Which is like still weird as hell that there would be that big. Because if that's pushing hot air through the building, like, it's huge. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's what it's supposed to be. The way he falls, trying to reach the other duct, misses the initial grab, clearly falls away from the wall a bit towards the center of the shaft, and then is able to fingertip catch himself is like maybe the most unbelievable thing in the whole movie.
Yeah.
It might
crazy.
be the most unbelievable thing. It's awesome, but it is so crazy. So he's able to like grab on, pull himself. He's lost his machine gun now, but he's able to pull himself up into this air duct, this heating duct. And he, for whatever reason, decides right away to like use the Zippo lighter he took from Tony to like check his surroundings, which I'll give you a hint, pal. You're in a duct. Like there's not much to see.
You're not gonna see much.
But that clues Karl in. Then he's looking down from where John sort of came in initially into the shaft and can see, he actually sees the light go out as he close the Zippo. And now he knows kind of where he is again.
Yeah.
And it's like, John, you're giving away your location.
Oh man. And crawling in the duct, it just seems like can you imagine being in that? There's no way it would hold me. I feel like it would fall the second I walked on it. It's not built for like 200 pounds going through it.
Exactly.
But yeah, just iconic scene of McLean crawling through the ducts with the lighter. I mean, one of the best shots of the movie. McLean, he ends up getting, and they're like on top of him, but they can't quite spot him. So they don't catch him in the ducts.
Right. Well, and that's when the police arrive and Karl and the other boys get called off. They have to rush back to like, because now they wanted the police to arrive. It's part of their plan, but it's like, they need to deal with it now kind of thing. Yeah.
And they see, McLean sees the cop car. He's now in the room where Takagi was killed.
That's
the room
right.
with all the models and stuff.
Yeah.
There's the blood splatter on the door. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
And he looks down and he sees the cop car there.
Right.
So he's kind of like, hey, it's about time.
Yep.
And at the same time, Al now has come into the lobby and he's talking to the guard who's the replacement guard that's
Eddie.
part of Gruber's crew.
Yep.
So again, at this point, the time kind of confusing me. So I think we're probably at 6, 7 p.m.
It looks like it's dark out now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's actually sun has set. Yeah.
So when Al comes in and Eddie, the security guard there, and he's like watching the football game. He's like, damn, I got $50 bet on them assholes. And it's a Notre Dame USC Christmas Eve.
It would be a Christmas Eve bowl game probably. Yeah.
Did they do Christmas? I guess they did do Christmas Eve
but
bowl
like
games.
not usually not schools that big.
Yeah.
Schools that big would be playing like New Year's Day. In fact, like it's incredibly possible. Actually, USC Notre Dame wasn't in the Big Ten, still isn't, but like USC could have won the Pac-10 that year easily. And I don't know, like normally you'd have the big schools from like the Midwest and the West Coast playing on the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. That was like the standard, right? But yeah, apparently there's a USC Notre Dame rivalry
Christmas Eve game.
Those teams always did play each other. Like back then, they would always schedule against each other as rivals, but usually earlier in the season, you'd think, because this is like Division II playoff / crappy bowl game time.
Yeah,
right?
this isn't where I don't know what the timeline was, but I was always like, and imagine you're at Notre Dame, you gotta play football on Christmas Eve. I mean, so McLean he's like looking out the window, kind of like, what's this cop doing? And at the same time, the henchmen are after him, so they come into the room.
Well, because he like smashed a window to like try to whatever, and a lookout basically from a higher floor was able to see that happened and go, somebody's 2 floors down, go. And so Heinrich, who was the guy originally setting all the bombs, and one of the other guys, I don't remember which one, both come in to the floor that McClane's on. Now the first guy shows up and McClane's yelling at him like, drop the gun. He's like, oh, okay, I'll drop it. And that's when Heinrich comes behind him to shoot. That's
right.
But McClane catches him right between the eyes with one, and that guy's down. And now we get the scene where, much like in The Crow, although thankfully, everybody survived this filming, above a table and getting shot up through it, like McClane ends up shooting the guy through the table, and because he says something like, next time you have a chance to kill someone, don't wait, or something.
and as he's chasing me, he's like, where are you going, pal? There's no more table.
So McClane kills those two, and then Powell is like, this is dumb. There's nothing wrong here. He's down in the lobby, still doesn't know anything that's happening 30 floors above him or whatever. So he's like, this is stupid. I'm going to go. He goes to leave, and that's when McClane goes ahead and throws that guy's body through the hole he made in the window and lands right on Powell's car, which then causes him to speed backwards. And at which point also all the other people like doing lookout on this realize, shit, he knows something's wrong now, let's kill him. So they're now firing at him as well. So his car is getting shot up and he's calling in, I need backup. They're turning my car into Swiss cheese. Like he's just going off until he finally kind of backs far enough away that he falls down an embankment and is no longer within range, I guess, right, of these machine guns.
Yeah, and he's I like the body being dropped accurately. We saw that in Con Air as well. We love a body drop here. And then Al is backing away, and he's driving like Mother in sneakers when he had to drive the van there. And he's just like speeding away in the stupidest way. I mean, you're getting shot at, whatever, but he's not paying a whole lot of attention. So yeah, that's great. And now, okay, it's official. The cops are aware that there's some shit going down.
And
in
this is
Nakatomi
when
Plaza.
one of McClane's great lines in the movie when he looks out the broken window and goes, "Welcome to the party, pal."
Yes.
It's a classic.
Oh, and Al is singing. He's singing "Let It Snow" to himself.
Oh, that's
so
right.
It's kind of funny. Like "Let It Snow" as the body comes and crashes.
The
into
white
his
body.
car.
It's a white guy too.
It's true. It's raining white guys.
So now the cops arrive for real.
Yes.
And we cut very briefly to William Atherton, the actor playing the character Thornburg. Atherton's probably up there for ranking on like the actor who played the most stupid assholes everybody hates in 80s and 90s movies. Because he was also Peck in Ghostbusters, and he was the like asshole scientist in Biodome and like all kinds of stuff. Like
yes.
So there's that.
The news reporter.
The news reporter, yeah. So he hears over the like police band radio the shooting at Nakatomi Plaza. Police officer needs assistance, all this stuff, and he goes, "Whoa, we got to check this out." So he goes to try and like get approval from his producer to like get a van to go down there, and the guy's like getting the evening news started, right? We're probably as close to like 7, it's like 7 o'clock news or something like that. And so there's this little banter back and forth, and I love it that he kind of distracts the male news anchor enough that the guy's like grimacing at him.
Oh,
and
I love that scene.
"Harvey, you're on TV," and he's like, "Hello, welcome," to whatever. And I love another like what else were they in? Gail, the anchor woman sitting next to her, is the Goonies, Mrs. Walsh from the Goonies.
Shit, she looked familiar.
Yes,
thank you for
she
that.
was the mom in the
like,
Goonies.
Where's this lady from? And no, I'm not going to look it up. The news guy subplot is very fun, especially like with it taking place in LA. It's a very LA thing of like, fighting for the story and all this kind of stuff and being, unethical on your way to try to like get the scoop. McClane is on the radio. He's basically on the radio with Hans. And he had found the C4, some detonators and stuff. And Hans is basically, ridiculing like, "Oh, you Americans, you're all like playing cowboys and Indians. You think you're a cowboy." He's like, "Do you have a chance, Mr. Cowboy?" And this is where McClane says, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."
Yeah, because he says like John Wayne or like whatever. He says somebody else, and he goes, "I've always liked Roy Rogers myself."
Yeah.
Like, "Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?" It's so fun.
Really good. And McClane now has been in contact with Al. So he's gotten a hold of Al. He knows that Al's the cop down there. And he's given him some info, not a bunch about himself, but he's giving him, this is what I know. And he's written the name. I notice you have that too, Steve. You have all the terrorist names written on your wrist like John McClane. That's why you're so good with the names here. But yeah, so I always love that where you're like, just like in Toy Soldiers where we're gathering some intel and ready to dump it to the outside.
Because then he names them all all by name. He's like, oh, like Fritz and Karl and whatever, we'll have time, a good time with Marco. And sorry about your buddy Heinrich and Tony. And all this, and he's naming everybody. And that's freaking out some of the, not Hans so much, but some of his guys, like, why do they know so much? What's going on?
Yeah.
And at that point, Karl confirms that, hey, he's not lying. Heinrich's dead and the detonators are missing. And that's a huge problem for Hans. Like, regardless of all this other stuff, he doesn't care that the cops are coming. He doesn't care that he cares, but that there's another guy who thinks he can deal with a lot of this. And some of it he needed to happen. He talks about he needs the cops to show up. He needs the FBI to show up, but he needs the detonators. If he can't, set the roof to blow when he wants to, it fucks up his plan. So he needs that back. So that becomes the new sort of like driving force for Hans. It's like, we need to get this guy because he's got the detonators. And so, Powell is chatting with McClane for a while, calling him Roy, because he's like trying not to give his real name away over the radio. He mentions it's a party line. Neighbors are listening. Yeah. Neighbors got itchy trigger fingers or whatever. But they're chatting back and forth a little bit. At which point, more cops show up down where Powell is, including Deputy Chief Dwayne T. Robinson, played by everybody's favorite asshole from the 80s, maybe more than Bill Atherton, Paul Gleason, who we recently saw in Trading Places as Clarence Beeks, but also maybe more famously was Principal Vernon in The Breakfast Club.
And he is excellent. He's like so good at just being upset and being undeservedly in charge. Mm-hmm. He's just really, really good at that. Yeah, so now we're kind of back with the hostages and stuff. And of course, Dwayne Robinson, he's like, Al, why are you talking to this guy? He probably is one of the terrorists. He does not buy a single thing that McClane has told him.
That's right. He's probably yanking your chain.
And then some of the leaps that he makes later where he's doing it's probably just this. Dude, what side? What are we? Maybe you're a terrorist. This is terrible police work.
Because Powell says something about like, I think he might be a cop, maybe not LA, but I think he's a badge. She's like, why do you think that? Well, the stuff he said about like being able to spot a fake ID. And he goes, Jesus Christ, Powell, he might be a bartender. Like, bro, really? Like...
So Holly basically approaches Hans because it kind of Takagi's gone. She's like, well, I didn't want to talk to you, but you killed the boss, and now people are looking at me like I'm the person in charge here.
What idiot put you in charge? She said, you did when you killed my boss.
And just doing, very, very basic, like, hey, like, I'm not trying to tell you to let us go, but we need to go to the bathroom. Yeah. We need some comfort for this pregnant woman and negotiate. And he's being like reasonable with her. He has some level of respect for her, I think.
Well, again, the hostages, he needs them alive because he really needs them to not be alive later.
He
needs to kind of keep them all good now.
We
so
need
that
a good
later,
contrast between the alive and the not alive later on. And Robinson not listening to any of this stuff is like, we're sending the SWAT team in. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have this shiny new SWAT team if I wasn't going to use it. So let's go.
One of the best things when they start attacking, when they start their assault on the building and they're running up, one of the cops runs through like rose bushes and just goes, ow.
He gets stuck by the thorn. I wrote that down. That is so funny. There was some other instance of like a really minor thing bothering the cops too, which was, but that made me laugh so hard.
It made me think of Toy Soldiers when they assault the school and one of them comes out of the helicopter and just falls on his ass and then like keeps running or whatever. Oh my God.
So, and as Hans's crew is like preparing for this assault because they see them all coming, one of our favorites, Al Leong, the Asian dude with the great like balding mullet and Fu Manchu and stuff. He's like at the concession, the little like store area, and it's like got his eye on the candy bar and like sheepishly starts ganking candy bars because it shows him eating a different candy bar every time it shows him after that.
He's chewing on something, and it's just like, man, what the best possible place to stake out, like that's your position.
Oh, I would
is
love
like by the
there.
candy. Heck yeah, man, let's get a little sugar rush going before we like start taking out these cops.
Imagine if you're by the batteries or the rope or something that's not like candy. You got something to do there.
And I love too, like, so they get all set up, they send some cops here and they're like positioned or whatever. And then the sort of captain, the sort of second in command on scene, who by the way was in Brewster's Millions as one of the journalists at the political rally. I mentioned that in that episode too, that he's the get the car guy, but he turns to Robinson, he goes, we're ready. And, Gleason, he looks, he goes, kick ass. It's just like so like bullshit bravado.
And they have this crazy like armored assault vehicle.
Yes, the car
they're sending in there, right? Which is this like 6-wheeled just beast of a thing.
It kind of looks like a tank without a turret. It's kind of what it looks like. Yeah.
It's one of these things that for a movie like this, I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah. And then I find out my local PD bought one at the expense of like field trips for all the kids in elementary, and it's not as cool, but cool in this movie.
Yeah.
And as it's going up there, I mean, they just absolutely take this thing out with a fucking rocket launcher.
Yeah, I love Theo over the line or over the walkie-talkie. He's like, the police have themselves an RV. And yeah, they've got this huge floor mounted rocket launcher thing.
Yeah.
It did shooting a rocket launcher, missile launcher, whatever, out of an office building did make me think of Terminator 2 as well.
Yeah, for sure.
When they're at Cyberdyne. But this is like an even bigger rocket launcher thing. It's like they have to like bolt it into the ground so it doesn't, so the kickback doesn't like make it fly out of your hands.
Yeah.
And they actually shoot it twice, this car thing. So I don't know if we're supposed to believe anybody in there, or did they die? How many people were in it? Did they get out? Like, I can't remember, whatever.
Well,
but
it showed them kind of like writhing outside.
Well, no, those
of it.
were the guys that were trying to break into the front door and got shot by Al Leong and the other guys in the lobby.
Okay.
Was those guys. They just took it in the knee or in the arm.
And they were instructed by Gruber to not kill
just
them.
wound
He's
them.
pulling a little bit of an Ed Harris in The Rock where he's like, I don't want this to go too sideways. I mean, he's not as like righteous as in his cause or whatever, but he doesn't want fucking chaos. He knows that's going to throw the whole thing off.
He can't escalate too quickly. Theo is still trying to get through the different locks of this. There's 7 locks of this safe. We kind of didn't mention this part where he's able to get through. He says, I can get through up to 6 of them, but the last one, like the circuits can't be cut locally. It's electromagnetic. There's no way to get around it. You need a miracle for that. I can get you there.
Okay.
But you got to take it from there. And Hans is basically like, don't worry, Theo. It's Christmas. It's the season of miracles, whatever. But Hans can't have there be too much escalation and have the cops coming in or whatever and screw everything up until Theo gets through the right blocks. So there's a timing to all this. Slow play it a little.
And one other quick Theo thing, when they shoot that vehicle, which I would have loved like a toy of that vehicle. When they blow it up with the rocket launcher, Theo goes, "Oh my God, the quarterback is toast." Which is like, I enjoy it because I like this movie, but it's like some note was given that they're like, Theo should say sports stuff.
How often can we have the black gentleman talk about sports? Can we fit in a few more? It's like, Jesus, guys, really?
But I do like his enthusiasm and his like dismissal of human life. So at this point, McClane has like this. He has some of the C4 and one of the detonators.
He has Heinrich's bag.
Yeah.
And Heinrich still had not placed all of the C4 bricks up on the roof, just most of them. So there was like 1 or 2, I think, bricks of C4 left, along with some of the detonating, coils or whatever how they are. And so he sets all that up, puts it on an office chair with a monitor on top of it, just so he could like keep it in place. Right. And he's going to throw this down the elevator shaft.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure even unplugged, a cathode ray tube monitor or television, a CRT like that, those old stool monitors, they can shock you. Like if you were to open up the back of one of those, you can get an incredible electrical shock, even when it's not plugged in. So the idea that cracking, breaking, and being on top of the C4 would ignite it actually makes a ton of sense, which is really interesting. So he shoves it down the elevator shaft and says, "Geronimo, motherfucker."
I like,
yeah.
We got to have alternate catchphrases here for certain parts. So how, like, his accuracy of that bomb blowing up at the correct floor,
that was weird.
He threw it down was kind of crazy because he didn't have any kind of remote thing to detonate it. It was just like whenever it hits,
should have landed, and then that right. And so maybe that they were talking about some of the elevators or express elevators. Maybe not all the elevator shafts went all the way to the lobby. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it did seem like maybe the 3rd floor from the ground is where it really blows up.
Yeah.
So somehow that's where it stopped. Maybe that's where the elevator was in that shaft. So it's hitting the top of the elevator.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
The elevator car and blowing up, something like that.
But cool explosion.
Absolutely.
Great to see it.
Huge explosion.
Great to see
enormous.
So on the news now, they've kind of learned, they know about Hans Gruber. They have some names and stuff, and they're showing some information. And there's a scene where the news person has a picture of Hans Gruber. And he's standing next to this big coffee urn that looks just like R2-D2. I don't understand it. He's like next to this gigantic coffee thing where I was like, is that fucking R2-D2?
I missed that.
But it's cool that the news is catching up so fast. Like that the author of Terrorist Hostage is like down at the station on Christmas Eve. His family's like, wait, you said that was the last book and then we get to have holidays together. No. So, and then during this whole time, Argyle is still in the garage having the time of his life. Just, he's waiting for McClane to call him. So in his mind, dude, I'm going to watch some TV, enjoy some CD, enjoy some VCR, all this stuff that I have in my
CD, CB.
And chilling with the bear and having the time of his life with sunglasses
pouring
on.
some drinks.
Yeah, I love that.
So at this point, I think this is when Ellis decides that he's going to try to, work his magic, right? He's an international businessman. He cuts deals. He's doing it. So he does a little coke off his finger, off his knuckles, tries to tighten his tie, does a terrible job of it.
If you're a hostage, is there a worse scenario to do coke in than I'm a hostage?
As a non-coke doer, I'm not sure.
I'm not either, but I can imagine it being...
If you're addicted to cocaine, maybe it's exactly when you need it.
True.
Like, it seems like Ellis is doing a lot of coke at work on Christmas Eve. If you're doing a lot of coke at work on Christmas Eve, you probably do a lot of coke, period.
That's
right.
True.
You have a lot of boundaries. This is not like taking half a gummy before visiting your family at the holidays. This is
he's not taking the edge off. His life is the edge.
Exactly. Yeah. So he does some more coke and is like, I'm going to talk to these guys, whatever. And he makes a comment, he walks in and is talking to Hans about like, Hans, I can give you this, I can do that. And I love the line where he's like, I've seen 60 Minutes. I know, you're into this or whatever. I don't care if I don't care if it's, and he says racist things about like Middle Easterners or, like, I think like, the Northern Ireland, like whatever. He says like all this different stuff. And then he goes, Hans, bubbe, I'm your white knight. And it's that line is so good. And I love that Hans is like confused. He goes, I must have missed that episode of 60 Minutes. What are you talking about? Like,
and again, Ellis not on screen a ton, but you get such a picture of this guy. You can imagine what his life would be like outside of this movie,
100%.
which I think is the best like compliment you could pay to a minor character.
Right. Like that guy had the first infinity pool ever installed on Mulholland.
Dude, 1000%. And if Ellis is not an ice bath guy right now, I will eat my hat.
That dude is tracking his macros. You know what I mean?
So Ellis basically tells Hans that he's like, oh yeah, John is my guest at the party. He's an old friend of mine, which is at least like to Ellis's credit. He didn't blow up his spot completely.
Right.
So that is like one redeeming thing.
But he did give his name away. Yeah. And that's not great.
Bad move.
Yeah.
Another great characteristic of that type of like overconfident 80s cocaine guy is saying capiche. And he drops a capiche there. Yes. So he's like, hey, John, come on, just tell him where the detonators are here.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he'll be on the phone he's on the CB with John. He's like, he's going to shoot me. And then he kind of gives a look over to Gruber like, like wink. This guy thinks I'm really in danger.
Yeah.
So really funny scene there. And of course, Gruber's had enough of this fucking guy. He's not going to help him or do anything.
Well, and I love it. He's like reaching for the gun, and over the walkie, you can hear Ellis go like, Hans, buddy, come on. What am I, a method actor? This is radio, not TV. Like, put the gun down. And John's trying to tell him, Ellis, like, tell him you don't know me, like, whatever. He shoots him, and then immediately, because the gunshots happen, now the entire crowd out on the 30th floor is screaming and stuff because they heard a gunshot.
Yeah.
And Hans pulls the walkie-talkie out, and like, you hear that? Like, I'll start shooting I'll start shooting random people. Maybe someday I will hit somebody that you care about. Like, bring me my detonators. Like, he's pissed.
Yeah.
But that is all for Ellis. Ellis has waved bye-bye. So this is, I think, where Hans then decides to actually call the police, right? And start making demands.
Yes. So, and he basically, he has a good list of demands, which is like, I would like the release of my revolutionary brothers and sisters. And he's naming a few different movements and like where they're imprisoned and stuff. Yes. And at a certain point, Karl's looking at him like, what?
Yeah, because he says about the Asian Dawn
movement. And then he says, I heard about them on 60
I read about them in Time
magazine.
Yeah,
I read about them in Time. They do drop a lot of like media references in this film. Yeah.
Well, it's LA. Yep.
Yeah, so that's happening. And then we're at the news station and they're interviewing the author of this book about hostages and terrorists and stuff. So we have the news angle happening. We have him making his demands. And then we have John McClane.
And Hans has now told Karl, now it's time for you to hunt him down. Like before he was still holding Karl back. He's like, you could have neutralized him, like whatever, but now he's got the detonators. Hunt that rat down. Go get my detonators. Find him wherever he is. So now Karl is on a mission. He's already super pissed because John killed his brother Tony, but now he also has sort of carte blanche from the boss to just tear the place up, find him, kill him, get my detonators back. Real quick on the author on the news thing talks about the Helsinki Syndrome, which is a funny, then makes a joke that Harvey, the dumb anchor, goes, as in Helsinki, Sweden. And the guy's like, Finland. But why didn't they just call it the Stockholm Syndrome? Because that's really like funny. The real thing. It's so weird. Because he could have done the joke the other way around and go, as in Stockholm, Finland, and be like, Sweden. They could have made the joke, but like, what is the Helsinki Syndrome?
No, that is
so strange.
That is a funny thing. I
don't know.
Caught that a little bit too. So the purpose, I guess, for Gruber to make these specific demands is that he knew this would get the FBI involved.
Correct. Because he's asking the State Department to do something. So that's going to involve federal agents now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So at this point, now we're introduced to two great characters. Once again, we've got Agent Johnson and Agent Johnson, the FBI agents, no relation.
No relation.
And one of them is played by the great Robert Davi, who we've seen in several films, and he was all around this area.
Jake Fratelli in the Goonies, more than anything.
Fantastic. And I have a quick Robert Davi story.
Oh, good.
And then the other guy, so it's funny that Robert Davi, white guy, the other agent is a black guy, and he was in, I think, Demolition Man. We've seen him a few places.
He was the young version of Zachary Lamb in the helicopter. He was the helicopter pilot in the sort of preamble, the prologue of Demolition Man. In addition, by the way, both that actor's name is Grand L. Bush is actually his name. He and Robert Davi also both together in License to Kill, the James Bond movie.
Nice.
Yeah. Funny little
Grand L. Bush, my favorite Spanish language female porn star as well. So okay,
Would that be Law, not L?
Real quick on Robert Davi, because
please.
he's killed me. So I know a person who is distantly related to Robert Davi, and Robert Davi has kind of a reputation of being like kind of a dickhead, right? Great actor, like very talented, whatever. But he's also one of these, like, he thinks he's in the Rat Pack in real life kind of guys, which is a very funny character trait to me. So this guy, because he was a distant cousin, he got married, 20 years ago, and was like, oh, so I invited, all these people in my family. So I invited Robert, thinking like, oh, well, he's a cousin, he'll get invited. He returned the invitation basically saying that my appearance fee is $5,000.
For family? Wow.
And what are you gonna do there? Say Goonies stuff? Like what's justifying this?
Oh my god.
Oh, we want a lot of people who feel like their skin looks better than it does, so they're gonna stand next to you.
I was Agent Johnson. No, the other one.
That will never stop making me laugh that this guy wanted an appearance fee to come to a family wedding. So shout out Robert Davi.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so now we've got these guys. Hans is frantically looking for these.
Well, he decides since Heinrich's dead and Carl's looking for John for the detonators. Like basically, Hans is like, I'm gonna go check,
make sure
how far did he get?
Are there.
Basically, how far did Heinrich get? How big? How covered are we? So he goes up to check the explosives. They say on the roof, but it seems like really they're just underneath the roof, right inside still. But that's where McClane sort of spots him. And now, Hans, being an incredibly smart guy, immediately takes on an American accent and is like, oh no, you're one of them. Oh no, don't hurt me.
Great.
Really smart.
Great, scared. And again, quick on his feet too.
Absolutely. And so, he basically plays pretend, that he's one of the, I was trying to get away, like whatever, all this stuff. And so he and, McClane end up like talking a little bit, and John's like, you got to come with me. He's trying to go back for his gun. He's like, no, you got to come this way. If you want to survive, you got to stay with me, John says. But they go down to where they're near one of the elevators on one of the levels because there's like a directory nearby. Yeah. And so John offers Hans a cigarette and says, hey, so hi, I'm John McClane. And very quickly, we see on the directory, there is a Clay, WM, right? Which means it was short for William. So he says Clay, Bill Clay, and so he's like very smart. And he says, so Bill, you ever use one of these? And he hands him a pistol, his sidearm. And he's like, oh, I went to a shooting ranch once or something like that, whatever, right? With paintballs. Yeah. And he's like, well, this is the real thing. And he actually like pulls the clip out and like checks it and puts the clip back in and hands it to him. And as John starts walking away, Hans gets on the radio and is saying something in German, right, over the radio, and while pointing the gun at him. And it's like, sure enough, he click and nothing. And so he's like, what are you doing? Think of that stupid Hans.
He goes, oops, no bullets.
No bullets.
I wanted to make like a mix, like just a sequence of no more table, no bullets, no more table, no bullets. Yeah, I think that could work, dude.
A little bit of a Skrillex, like drop the beat background.
Honestly, like if they successfully pulled this off, I think that song would play at the after party that the Gruber crew would have. So yeah, great scene. And I love the Bill Clay thing.
Yes.
I mean, just quick thinking, really, really smart. So right as basically McClane has him, like there's no bullets, you're screwed. I got a gun on you. but the elevator opens and the henchmen come out.
Karl and two others, I think. It's Karl is there, and there's like two other guys. One of them gets shot right away, and then everybody starts shooting whatever, and everybody's getting guns, and so now everybody's shooting.
Oh, and Gruber had noticed when he was talking to McClane earlier, he looked down and noticed that he was barefoot.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And so they're shooting at him, and he's ducked into like this sort of computer room. It looks like all those servers and stuff, and they're shooting back at each other, and it's not really, there's not much advantage being had. But now two more of Hans's guys are dead, and it's just Hans and Karl. At which point Hans says in German to Karl, "Shoot the glass," but he kind of looks back at him like he can't hear him, whatever. So he says, and he's like, "Shoot the glass."
Yeah.
And sure enough, they both, with their machine guns, the Steyr AUG and the MP5, they're just blasting just the glass windows all around McClane. I mean, it's like, holy crap. And of course he has to run through it in order to like get away, and there's nowhere to go but to run through broken glass in his bare feet, just like Marv in Home Alone coming through the window.
It's a Christmas tradition, running through glass in bare feet. And at this point, I mean, the terrorists are kind of becoming unhinged, and this is where Holly sees them like losing their mind. Yeah, right. And
we should mention real quick before we pass on. When John had to leave the bag. So Hans has his detonator back, basically. He's got all of the equipment he needed back.
Very important.
Yeah.
And they're still losing their fucking mind.
Oh, yeah.
And Holly observes this, and she's like, I know John's still alive because only John can drive somebody that crazy.
Yeah, because Karl's going nuts. And it's like Karl, like Hans is happy. Hans has his detonators. He's like, I'm good. I actually don't care what happens to that guy now. In a sense, like I've got what I need and my plan's going to work. And Karl's like, I still want blood. This guy killed my brother. And so he's freaking out. This is also when Thornburg, Bill Atherton, the journalist, he has become one of his assistants or somebody that works for him comes by and is like, tell me you got something. Oh, all I've got is, McClane's, like department in New York, his badge number, his entire employment history, and his wife's address here in LA. And they're like, holy shit. So they drive off to Holly's home, right? Where of course she is not, but Paulina and the kids are. And then I think from that we cut back to John pulling the glass out of his feet in the bathroom. It's just horrific.
Yeah.
Like, it's
terrible, dude.
I've talked about my sort of issue with like Achilles tendons and like anything happening to like ankles in movies. This is close. It's not quite as bad, but it's adjacent.
It is so bad. And so during this time, McClane is kind of having a conversation with Al.
That's right.
And this is where he's learning a bit about Al. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, hey, what's wrong with you? You got flat feet or something? Kind of asking like, why are you,
why are you a desk jockey?
Well, why are you doing this job, not out on the streets?
Yeah.
And Al, has a very sad story about the tragic thing that happened to him. Al, the cop who has to deal with the rest of his life, the very sad fact that he shot a kid and killed some 13-year-old kid because he thought his gun was whatever. But the story is framed so that it's like, oh, poor Al, what an unfortunate thing. It's like, bro, it should not be your fucking choice to be a cop anymore if you do something like that.
He also says he had a ray gun that looked real enough. Like, what?
Real enough, dude.
And a ray gun? So I'm imagining like one of those bulbous Mars Attacks Martian pistols, dude. Like, come on, man.
So,
good Lord.
So fuck Al. And I think that the fact that it was his idea where he was like, oh, the day after I shot that kid, I went, hey, Sarge, I think I'd like to be at a desk. Like, fuck you, dude.
I think I'd like you to be in a holding cell, Mr.
You should
Powell.
Not be there's plenty of jobs you can do that are not having a gun, and you can do one of those for the rest of your fucking life. Yeah. So it always blows my mind that he's like the second to the main good guy in this movie, and he's basically a child murderer who's trying to redeem himself. That's Twinkie jokes.
Oh my god. Okay. So now we cut back to Agents Johnson and Johnson.
Yes,
they are. So the FBI agents are going to cut the power, which they don't know will open up the final lock on the safe, but that's what Hans has been counting on, right? So Theo has gotten him through the 6 sort of more physical locks on the vault, and the last one left is the electromagnetic that they can't cut the power to.
Yep.
So the FBI is saying you got to cut. It's going to cut off 10 square blocks or something like that when they cut the power to completely black them out. And I love it. The guy who calls in the power shutdown was one of the townies in Groundhog Day that hangs out with Bill Murray.
Okay,
yeah.
he looked familiar too.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was great that he's doing the like, hey, this is my ass if I do this thing, and you get the competing guys telling you what to do.
But sure enough, they shut it down and it opens up the vault.
And the vault is beautiful because not only are there the marketable securities or the bearer bonds, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool. It shows Theo flipping through them, and they're in these varying amounts, like 50 grand, 400 grand, like all different amounts.
And I think different currencies too. There was like yen and Deutschmark and something else. There was like a couple I thought that were not dollars, but
and then also in there, just for the effect, since it's a cool Japanese company, there's all this like Japanese artifacts. It looks like it would be in like Steven Seagal's home dojo. Like that's how he would decorate. You need these like samurai armor suits and all this kind of shit. So I really enjoyed the opening of the vault. It was satisfying.
And there's the music plays or whatever, and it's like, I can't remember which song it is now, but some classic music, and it's just a glorious day for the bad guys. They get their vault and they start emptying it basically and putting things in the bags, and they're starting to work. Meanwhile, outside, the FBI agents are now ordering the choppers. So they've been asked for helicopters to transport people off, and Agent Johnson calls in the choppers or whatever, and he goes like, this is what he says, like, this is Agent Johnson. No, the other one.
Yeah.
Get the choppers ready, like whatever. And they're bringing in not, of course, transport helicopters. They're bringing in what they say gunships, right? Like attack helicopters.
The news van. So basically, McClane, he looks bad, and he gives Al this very long, hard to remember message to relate to his wife. He's like, dude, if I knew you were going to talk for this long, I would have started writing. But now we're a minute and a half into your ramble, and I'm not even sure if I'm at the part I'm supposed to say to her yet.
I think at the end it was pretty much tell her I'm sorry. Yeah, she never heard me say I'm sorry, but he did took him a while to get there.
It was. You know what? My favorite version of that is the tell my wife, just tell her. Like that's my favorite way to do it. Was where they say it like that. So that's happening, and then the news asshole is going to McClane's house and knocking on the door, and the nanny
Paulina
is there. Paulina's like, no, you're not coming in.
Yeah, it's like the middle of the night at this point. The kids are asleep.
It's Christmas Eve, whatever. Like,
screw off.
It's Christmas Eve. We're not going to have a random guy show up to the house. That's not what Christmas is all about. And then he basically pulls her aside and says, like, he pulls a fucking Jeremy Renner and says, hey, I'm going to call the INS on you.
Which is ICE of the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It was just fucked up.
Yep.
So that's how they get, access there.
Yep.
Let's see. So McClane has found he sees that the C4 is all over the roof.
That's right. Yeah, because he was kind of like, he thought he used the only C4 when he blew up. He sent it down the elevator shaft because he had the bag. And then when he realized that Hans was after the detonators, he goes, why does he still need detonators if I use the C4 on the thing? And that's when he's like, shit, why was he up on the roof? That must be why. So he goes back up there and sees, of course, the ridiculous amount of C4. I mean, 40 or 50 of those multi-pound bricks. I mean, it looks like a ton of explosive, right?
Insane.
Unfortunately for him, that's when Karl finds him up there, and they start a fantastic fight. It's not a single cut the way like the They Live fight where it just goes on, but it does go on for like about 4 minutes, give or take 4 to 5 minutes, as we are cutting to other things. But they fight for a long time, and
they're like finding things to hit each other with. I like that.
And I think at one point John tells Karl, "I'm gonna fucking cut you up and I'm gonna fucking eat you. I'm gonna cook you and eat you," he says at one point, which is like the most insane thing. But I guess when you're fighting somebody like that, you're just kind of whatever comes to mind. You're just saying to threaten them. But yeah, he like says, "I'm gonna cut you up, I'm gonna cook you, and I'm gonna eat you." Like, really? What the fuck?
And him and Karl are fighting, and now there's a news broadcast on the TV, which is the McClane kids being interviewed against their will, woken up on Christmas Eve by this asshole. But Gruber clicks with him, and he flips the picture up and sees, that's the same
and
child.
Now that he's seen John, his face, and he knows, so he actually calls out to Holly and refers to her as Mrs. McClane, right? And not Ms. Gennaro. And so
the stakes are raised here. And the FBI guys now in their attack helicopter, they're cruising in there. And the Robert Davi, the Johnson, he makes a comment about like, oh, this is just like Saigon or what, like some Vietnam
just
reference.
Like Saigon, how slick.
And the other guy's like, I was in middle school.
Dickhead.
But one comment that the Robert Davi character says is he's like, well, what do you figure for breakage?
Oh yeah.
And he goes, we might lose 20 to 25% of the hostages. And he goes, I can live with that. Yeah. So I mean, the plan is that we're going to take it over, but we don't really care. We're not protecting the lives necessarily. We just want an overall W here.
Yeah, they're going to aim at because they're imagining if the terrorists are all waiting for them with the hostages on the roof like they were told they would be, they're just going to aim for the terrorists. They're going to clip some innocents while they do that, but they're aiming for the terrorists. They're trying.
So as long as, I mean, the important thing is that you try.
Yeah, sure. fuck. God damn. So at this point, Karl has clipped John in the shoulder because their fight has continued on, and he does get a shot off with just a pistol. Thankfully, not that ridiculous rifle he had. But he clips John in the shoulder as he jumps back into the building, and the hostages are being corralled up to the roof.
Yes.
So some of the other bad guys are like basically leading them up to the roof. There's a great line here where now Hans has Holly. He's kept her kind of as a personal hostage, and he's gone down to where Theo is. They're loading stuff from the vault, the bearer bonds stuff, and he's loading them into a bag. And she looks and goes, "For all your big speeches and everything, you're nothing but a common thief." And he is so pissed at that. He is like sitting on the ground or like kneeling on the ground doing this, and runs like. He moves to her in such a weird, cool way, but so angry. And he goes, "I am an exceptional thief, Mrs. McLean. And since I've upgraded to kidnapping, you should be more polite." Great fuck. Like Alan Rickman just crushes that line.
He is, he's incredible in this.
So good. And she is like rightfully just looks terrified.
Oh yeah.
Because who knows what this guy's capable of at this point.
Right. Because he's just coming detached. And so McLean and Karl are still fighting there, and McLean manages to get this chain wrapped around Karl's neck
and just kind of push him and
again just a chain like on some kind of a track thing to push things around.
It looked like the loading dock. Are they all the way down on the ground floor at this point? It's super weird. I don't know where the hell in the building they are. Yeah.
But you know what? Suspend disbelief. Cool way for him to get dispatched there.
"Quote unquote killed."
Yes.
"Quote unquote."
Right. So McLean basically knows that the roof is going to blow. The hostages are up there.
Yes.
And the helicopter's coming. And all he has no communication. So he's just shooting his gun like, get the fuck out of here.
Back down. Get back down.
And the helicopter's like, there's the guy we're trying to kill.
They clocked us, Bureau. You got to shoot her on the roof.
So now he's in like a Richard Kimball situation where he's getting blasted at by the good guys on the roof there, and he's trying to get these hostages out of here. It's a cool scene where he's sending the hostages back down the stairs, and they're walking by Karl just hanging on that chain.
Yikes. But now Eddie, who's one of the last remaining not dead Hans guys. I mean, there's Eddie, the guy who played the security guard. Theo is still around. There's Hans, and there's like one other guy at this point. And Eddie comes down where Hans is and is like, something's wrong. The hostages are coming back down. And so Hans is like, let's just blow the roof. Let's do it now. Like, we'll be close enough. We'll get a bunch of them. It'll whatever. And so he doesn't know what's going on upstairs, right? But on the roof, John is tying a fire hose around his waist to try to jump off the roof just to get away from the chopper.
Yeah.
But as he's doing that, Hans has got the detonator ready to go, and it's a great sequence. And it's like probably the most famous visual, right, from the movie is John, leaping off the building. Hans has pressed the plunger of the detonator. The entire roof explodes, engulfing both attack choppers, which I counted as 5 additional deaths, but it might have been even more. And he flies off, and it has to do the whole thing where he like starts trying to kick the window, and then he's like getting through. So he's shooting it with the gun. He gets through. I mean, it's a great sequence. He has to like struggle to get the fire hose off his waist so that it doesn't drag him back out the window into his death. I mean, really fantastic stuff.
His like bloody feet hitting the window before he breaks it is so such cool. a great effect there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an excellent scene. And the chopper, so yeah, I mean, there's multiple people in these helicopters. It blows up and it crashes, and then Robinson looks at it and he goes, "We're gonna need some more FBI guys."
I love it. He says, "We're going to need some more FBI guys." Or no, "We're going to need some new FBI guys, I guess."
He goes, "I did say I guess." Yeah, I guess. Like, Jesus. It's not a "we're going to need a bigger boat" type
it's
situation.
Close, though. I like it, though.
It's very good.
I felt like that.
So Argyle is down there, and he's heard some chatter because earlier when he was chilling in the limo, he was hearing some like banter on the CB.
Well, no, he saw the news. He saw the news report was the thing that really tipped him off. Seeing the news report of when Thornburg went to the McLean home and spoke to the daughter. I think Argyle sees that, and they make a big deal about like there's a hostage situation at Nakatomi Plaza, and he's like, "Whoa, what? That's where I am," So he knows, and then he looks over and sees there is the big van that they showed up in the bad guys. Wouldn't be possible because we saw the inside of the van when they all arrived, by the way. There's nothing else in it. But an ambulance conveniently is in it and drives out. And Theo sees this, like, why would an ambulance drive out of a vehicle? That's so bizarre, you know. And Theo is the one driving it. And so Argyle decides he's gonna go ahead and do something about this. But wait, before he actually does anything, John has arrived now. He's flown off the roof. He's flying through, and he gets to where Hans and Eddie and Holly and one other guy are. And he sees before he goes to them. He notices he's only got 2 bullets left in his gun, and there are 3 bad guys and his wife.
Yeah, so Argyle crashes into this ambulance that Theo's in. He doesn't kill Theo. One way to do it would have been that Theo was all the way out of the vehicle and he got like if he'd
stepped
M. Night
out.
Shyamalan, right? But I think it was cool that Argyle gets out and then he punches Theo
to like knock him out cold.
So,
yeah,
and you know what? For future sequels, Theo not dead, so maybe we'll see him again.
Yeah, probably gets arrested. Yeah, I would assume, but we'll but yeah, I love then too. So now we don't know exactly what's happening, but John sees wrapping like a wrapping station. There's like tape and wrapping paper and stuff, and then he comes around the corner, and the guy who isn't Eddie or Hans, I don't remember what it was, just gets smacked in the head with the butt of something, whatever. He knocks him out basically, right? So now there's just the 2 bad guys and Holly, and he comes around the corner, and I love. He goes, Hans! Like he just like the way he yells it is so like. Oh,
it was kind of like Winthorpe yelling in the Santa suit,
yes,
just
exactly.
Like,
he's got the gun on his back and he grabs it and basically yells Holly, and she ducks. So he shoots Hans, and it's like in the chest or arm. He doesn't kill him right away.
Yeah.
But then he goes, and before Eddie can pick up his rifle, he shoots him between the eyes. So he's done. And Hans starts falling back towards the window, and that's when he says, "Happy trails, Hans," is sort of the line he gives there. Problem for everybody is that Hans still has a hold of Holly's wrist. So as he's falling back towards the open window, Holly's going with him. John has to jump forward, grab her, and ends up reaching down and undoes the watch that actually, I don't think we mentioned at the beginning, but Ellis makes a big deal about how Holly was given a gold Rolex for how well she's doing, whatever, at the company, and that he undoes that wristwatch, and that's enough to get Hans to slip and actually fall. And I don't know if you've read this, but it's kind of like a pretty well-known little fun fact, but in order to get that shot just right, so Alan Rickman was held up about 20 feet above one of those big cushy, inflatable things. There's all green screens so that it might have been blue back then, but whatever, they could replace it with the view of going down the thing. And to get a really good surprised, oh my God, I'm falling look from him, they told him, we're going to count to 3 and we're going to let you go. 1, and they let him go. Nice. And so they got an actual kind of look from him. But it's another kind of one of the most
that
iconic
scene of him falling.
Yeah, that visage of Alan Rickman falling backwards is fantastic. And then I don't remember which character, maybe it's Paul Gleason's character says something like, I hope that's not a hostage, as they're seeing him fall.
His commentary was really good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then also because there was an explosion in an office building, it's required to rain printer paper for like the next 2 hours.
I think those were supposed to be the bearer bonds. I think those are supposed to be the bearer bonds. Yes.
I was trying to see it. Yeah. They all look blank to me.
Well, I'm sure they were, because they couldn't, the props department didn't print 5 million fake bearer bonds to do it. But I think the idea is that part of that's where it kind of came from. But yeah, it's snowing. It's snowing in LA. Like,
and as Holly and McClane are coming out of the building, he sees Al. He's never seen Al.
Right.
And Al didn't say anything, but somehow they just knew that each other was the guy. So we
had
a little like, hey
dudes.
Man, that's a real cop there.
Right.
And then just a little cherry on top for us. All of a sudden, Karl fucking emerges.
Right.
He survived dying 500 times.
Oh my God. And being hung by a chain. Like, how do you even get down from there? Although he is wearing, here's the thing, he's wearing like a blanket, like somebody came and rescued him and is putting a blanket on him, but he still has that crazy rifle with him. So he ends up throwing the blanket off with that Steyr rifle and aiming at John like he's gonna shoot him. But who the hell helped him out? Got him down.
And they didn't take his gun. I'm sure that gun's giving you a lot of comfort right now, so we don't want to take it from you.
But yes.
Oh, that is a good point. I didn't know that he had been rescued.
Yeah.
And luckily Al is able to pretend that Karl's head is an unarmed child, and he takes him out.
Oh my God.
And then the last little bit that we get here is, McClane and Holly are there, and the news guy
Yes.
is ready to get in their face with the microphone, and Holly punches his ass out.
And then Argyle drives through the like closed locked gate of the parking garage, which apparently he could have done at any time.
Yeah.
And they have to like, and Al goes to like point his gun at him. He goes, no, he's with me. But it's like, there are also 500 other law enforcement officers with weapons nearby.
Yeah.
Argyle might want to chill out.
Are you the only guy who figured it out?
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's,
yeah, they get a ride home with Argyle, and they're making
the
out in the
weather
back of the limo.
outside is right. Isn't that what plays at the end?
Yep.
Like,
Let it snow to end
exactly. So that's Die Hard. Gosh darn it, that's a good movie.
It really is. It really is. And I mean, with the Christmas thing, it's like, it's inarguable. The number of like Christmas related things that come into play, even the wrapping paper station being relevant and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's very intentionally set up that 100%.
Way. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right. Well, let's see. This was my pick. I'll start off and I'm just going to say it like this. This is basically, in my opinion, an unimpeachable action movie. As an action movie, it set standards. It gave us, I think, and I'm not saying it's the first ever, but it was like the first massive hit that was the like we talked about, the everyman hero, the guy who's not unstoppable, the guy who's not a superhuman. Arnold Schwarzenegger's roles all through the 80s, they're fun, great action movies, but he was basically, I never really worried about him in Predator. I always figured out he'd figure out how to get by the Predator, whatever, But like with John McClane, you're like, since like this dude's, he's all cut up, he's all beat up. It's like, oh, this is crazy. Like, and he's just a cop. He's not like some super soldier, right? He's not Rambo. So this movie did so much for action movies. And then the fact that it's a Christmas movie too, and it, that which makes it something that is like super on brand to watch this time of year is fantastic. I don't think the movie's too long. I wouldn't cut any of the scenes. I think that all the little side characters are interesting and fun and add to the movie. I already talked about how well of a job they do, how good of a job they do, making the villains who aren't the top guys interesting and more than just, random henchman number 2. I see no reason not to give a 5 to Die Hard. I'm a 5 out of 5 for Die Hard. This is just, I think, one of the best action movies ever. And so that's where I'm at. What about you?
No, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Yeah. Even taking the Christmas elements outside of it completely and just putting this as an action movie that came out in 1988, which, there was kind of a shift in action movies generally after that. So, this is a 5 for me. I'm not going to drag it out. This is absolutely a 5 out of 5. It's super fun. It was super influential. So there's lots of great stuff that we ended up getting after the fact. And how many times has a movie been described as Die Hard and
right.
Die Hard on
became
a boat,
its own genre,
Die Hard and whatever,
Speed is Die Hard on a bus.
Yeah, dude. It's like a basketball player being the next Jordan or whatever. It's just a thing that you use now to describe other films. That's how influential it is. Super fun, not a dull moment. It is long, but it's not for dragging things out. I mean, what do you do? You're going to cut some action. You're going to cut some funny lines. You're going to cut, so I don't take anything out of this. This is a solid 5 out of 5. And please watch this on Christmas. It's delightful. It's fun. It's a great one with the adults when the kids go to bed, whatever. You can dip in at any time. It's just, if you haven't seen it and you're still listening to this episode, welcome to Earth once again. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's wonderful.
5 out of 5 for me.
The two dads are a 10 out of 10 on Die Hard, which should surprise no one. And by the way, if you're listening to this episode, the day it comes out, Merry Christmas Eve, because today is December 24th.
Yeah, Merry Christmas Eve.
Which means, Nick, we have one more door on the Dadvent Calendar. Now, I know most Advent calendars actually stop at Christmas, but we're going through to the end of December.
All the way.
There is another Christmas movie that is in store for us. Why don't you tell us what it is?
Yeah. And you do remind me, actually, it being Christmas Eve, I know we have our Two Dads One Movie office Christmas party tonight. No plus ones invited. It's
exactly.
Just me and you in tuxedos standing there. Yeah. So yeah, this last one, I know we're going to be past actual Christmas,
right.
So it doesn't have to be one that necessarily gets you super excited about Santa and eggnog and everything. And I thought maybe I'd take another swerve to something that is much more arguably not a Christmas movie.
That's okay.
Though the main action of this film does take place on Christmas Day.
Love it.
And we're going into the more sports action genre here. Ooh. We're going to visit one of our favorite characters from film history, Rocky Balboa. And we're going to join Rocky, who's set to fight Ivan Drago for free on Christmas Day in Rocky IV. They're fighting in Russia. he's chopping logs and the other guy has high-tech training.
Yeah.
This is a really fun one. I don't think I've watched this in like 15 years, so we'll see how it'll hold up. But I think this will be some good 80s. I don't expect a 10 out of 10 from the two dads, but that doesn't mean that it won't be a 10 out of 10 episode. Rocky 4.
I love it. Rocky 4, that's going to be great. I do think for me, I think I actually watched this maybe 3 or 4 years ago, but it had been a long time before then. One thing I remember about it is, and I'll see how this pans out, but I remember there being not a ton of plot and a lot of music-oriented montages that don't have a lot happening to it. They're like training montages. Yeah. There's a whole montage where he's just driving around town at one point in his car for like a good 4 minutes. It's really interesting. We'll see how that goes. I can't wait for it. Funny enough, Rocky Balboa, my third favorite. Ivan Drago and Apollo Creed I'd like better than Rocky Balboa, but that's okay.
Incredibly likable. They're great.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's fantastic. Next week we'll do Rocky 4 and we will wrap up the Dadvent Calendar and all of our Christmas themed movie choices. That about wraps it up. So if you like what you hear, and we hope you do, please consider heading over to Apple or Spotify and leaving us a 5-star review. It really helps new folks find the show. If you want to drop us a line, share your thoughts on an episode, tell us what we got wrong, or suggest a movie we should do next, you can do so at the show at 2dads1movie.com. That's the number 2 and the number 1. You can also follow us on Instagram at 2dads1movie and check out our website at 2dads1movie.com. Once again, this has been Die Hard, another episode of 2 Dads, 1 Movie. I'm Steve.
And I'm Nick.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, everyone.